Alrighty, here we are. Hey, Chidorin. Am I live? Because Twitch doesn't show me. If you're saying hello, I should be, right? Yeah, Twitch is... Okay, it needed a refresh. Okay, here we go. Continuing the one, hey, bunch of... Yeah, apparently. I wonder... Okay, we needed to give Burn some space for that. Indeed, best possible start to that in Hey Bear. Yeah, I wonder just how much more this thing can rip my my heart out of my chest and like mop the floor with it. So, I guess let's go. Hey Patch, thank you for the BTs. Hey Mat-chan. Oh, okay. Is the truth such a precious thing? What was the line before? So her body began to melt, fall apart. Bits of her began to pile on the chair until she was nothing but a pile of guts and scraps. Poor Angie. Yeah, okay, so that's where we left. Alright. I had blocked that in my mind, okay.
バカらしい、愚かしい。どうして人間は真実を自在にできないのかしら。
Control their own truth.
Okay. バカみたいにそれだけを追い求め、そして目の当たりにして耐えられず、自らクズ肉となり果てる。ねえ、見えてる？クレル。あなたもまた、この真実を隠したかったのよね。あなたは戯れに、憧れる推理小説のラストのように、メッセージボトルに封じるつもりで猫箱の物語をいくつも書いていた。それをあなたは海に投じたわ。この真実を知ったら苦しむだろう者を救うためにね。あなたが猫箱で閉ざし、エヴァがそれを錠前で閉じた。その箱を私が切り裂いてあげたわ。あんたが隠したすべてが無駄。あんたが死んで隠した真実をすべて暴き出してやったわ。それがあなたの目的だったというのですか？あなたはクレルの死を恥ずかしめるためだけにこのようなことをしたというのですか？そしてそれをエンジに見せて苦しめて、やはりあなたは邪悪な魔女だった。私は最初から魔女よ。退屈から逃れることだけが目的の旅人。生きてはめでて、死しては食らって二度目出る。
Hey, Superman, yes. Yeah.
それが魔女の生き様よ。
Just burn things. Yeah.
私にはあなたが許せない。エンジェを苦しめ、クレルの異なる世界の私を恥ずかしめた。私はあなたが許せない。リオン、それでもクレルにとってあなたは希望なのよ。死してなおね。クレルは崖より投じられた時、すでに運命の袋小路に閉じ込められていた。そんな彼女にとってあなたというもう一人の自分が異なる世界では幸せに生きていたことを知れたのはさぞや救いになったでしょうね。そうです。私は彼女の救いなんです。だから彼女の分まで一生懸命に幸せに生きなければならないんです。リオン、もう少しだけこの真実の物語を見せてあげるわ。 興味はありません。いいえ、きっと面白いはずよ。エヴァとキリエの決闘が終わり、静寂に包まれるゲストハウス。その頃の客間へあなたを招待するわ。客間？屋敷の？
I'm scared. Oh, Lord. Brancaso snapped her fingers, and the scene of the mansion's parlor unfolded before them. In the cruel tale they had just been shown, the parlor hadn't been particularly important. Jessica had been summoned to the parlor, but she was then immediately led to the dining hall and killed there. Yeah, sentences that I hate to read. Okay. So there had been nothing in the parlor. Bunch. And right now, there was nothing in the parlor that appeared before Leon.
ここに一体何があるというのですか？見ての通り、何もないわ。
I don't like how much it is repeated that there's nothing there.
でも見ていて。面白いものを今から見せてあげるから。あなたが言う面白いものが言葉通りの意味のわけがない。
Auto click? Ah, okay, okay. Thank you for the heads up.
ほら、ごらんなさい。そっちよ。そっちの部屋の隅。
Brancaso was pointing at nothing more than a corner of the room. There was nothing there. She had told Leon to look there, so Leon was expecting something terrible to be. Yes, of course! My stomach is in a knot already! But there really was nothing there at all.
そうね。何もないわ。この世界ではね。でも、隣り合うかけらを除くと、どうかしらね。
Could be not. On the white blank wall, bit by bit, the splash of blood seeped into view. Then right there, a corpse appeared. But that couldn't be...
これは... 私...
It was Leon lying dead against the wall. Ushiromiya Leon's corpse lay there exposed.
どういうことですか？これはどうして私がここに？この世界は私でなく、クレルの世界のはず。私とクレルは同時に存在できないはずです。そうよ。だから今、世界を、かけらを移ったの。あなたの世界にね。意味がわかりません。つまりはこういうことよ。同じ末路をたどるということよ。意味がわかりません。どうして私がここで死んでいなければならないんですか？あなたの世界で1986年10月4日親族会議に先立ちベアトリーチェの葬儀が催されたわ。ええ、知っています。それが私にとっての今日であり、ついさっきです。それからその晩までの間に何があるかしら？何もありません。いとこたちと楽しく過ごし、親族一同で晩餐を過ごし、そして夜には親族会議だわ。あなたは20歳になったら当主を継承するのだったわね。それは親族たちの間でも円満に決まってることなのかしら？円満かどうかは知りませんが、そういうことになっているはずです。当主様が決めたことですか？さすがに円満だとは信じてないようね。そういうことよ。 金蔵があなたを目に入れても痛くないほどに可愛がり、特例的に当主の座をあなたに直接継承しようとしている。そのことを親族兄弟たちが面白く思っているわけもない。
The siblings objected to having Leon succeed the headship. Even Kraus joined in, saying that Leon was still too young. Then, on the night of the family conference, Kinzo tried proposing a difficult riddle.
まさか。そうよ、碑文の謎よ。礼拝堂の仕掛けを見ればわかる通り、金蔵は碑文の仕掛けを六軒島に屋敷を築いたその当初から考えていたわ。いつか次期当主を選ぶ試練に使えるかもしれないなんてロマンチックなことを考えながらね。
That's an awful lot of trouble and premeditation. Kinzo decided to present that riddle at the family conference. Yeah, because he's alive in this world fragment, right? Did he plan to give the position of successor to the person who solved it? Or did he promise to reconsider Leon's position as the head if it was solved? Either way, Kinzo was confident. He was confident that no one would be able to solve the stuffed riddle, which he had created himself.
あとはすでに見た真実と全く同じ展開よ。あっさりと兄弟たちに解かれ、黄金の山を巡って一悶着。そしてキリエとルドルフは翌朝の事件発覚とそれに伴う騒ぎを未然に防ぐため深夜に殺人を決行する。いとこ部屋に集まっている子供たちを一人ずつ電話で呼び出して殺したわ。いとこの筆頭のあなたは一番最初に呼び出された。そして客間でキリエに撃たれて殺されたの。違うわね。あなたは1986年10月4日の夕方の後ろ宮リオンだものね。だからこう言うわ。あなたは今日の深夜に客間でキリエに撃たれて殺されるのよ。
そんなバカな。それはそうだ、確率だ。クレルからリオンという奇跡が低い確率で生まれるように。キリエおばさんはそのような強行に及ぶのだって限りなくゼロに近いわずかな確率に違いない。あなたはそのわずかな確率の世界を見つけることができる魔女ではありませんか。
いかにもその通りよ。あなたという奇跡の存在を見つけ出すために257万8917の中のたった一つのかけらを見つけ出してきた。でもね、あなたのこの末路はね、とてもとても簡単に見つけられたのよ。だって確率などないのだもの。私がわずかな奇跡があればそれを見つけ出せる魔女。でもね、ないものは見つけられないの。私とて絶対の魔女に本当に絶対を保証されたら勝てないんだから。
そんな。では私は
257万8917分の257万8916の確率であなたはクレルとしての世界に生き、逃れ得ぬ運命に翻弄され気の毒な最後を遂げる。そして257万8917分の1の確率で後ろ宮リオンとして生き、今夜キリエに殺されるの。つまりあなたの、いいえ、あなたたちの運命は257万8917分の257万8917の確率で。
Oh god, this scene applies almost for any moment of this episode, I would say. Ay.
つまりいかなる奇跡も許さない絶対の運命で 逃れ得ぬ袋小路に運命の牢獄に囚われているということなのよ。残念だったわね、クレル。いいベアトリーチェ。
A bright light seemed to turn the world white. Then, the next moment, they were back in the theater. As Claire stood absolutely still on the stage, the tip of Berncastle's Reaper's scythe traced a line across her stomach. A red line was drawn across her white skin, exposed now that the dress had been cut, and black blood began to seep out.
Beatrice.
Oof.
閉ざされた逃げ得ぬ絶対の2日間に閉じ込められたあなたは、その2日間の猫箱の中で無限を生み出せる魔女となったわ。絶対に救われない報われないことと引き換えにね。しかしあなたは夢を見たわ。それが後ろ宮リオンという夢。自分がクレルとならずに済み幸せに暮らせていたかもしれない奇跡の世界を夢見て自らを慰めていた。リオンを見つけるのは本当に苦労したわよ。その存在はベアトが夢見た通り本当に奇跡だったんだから。そして葬儀の最後に見せつけてやりたかったのよ。その奇跡をもってしてもあんたは惨劇を逃れられやしないってね。
Faced with the little bit of sky that she could see through the bars of the jail that imprisoned her, the witch called Beatrice dreamed of a world where she might have been happy. However, the sky beyond the bars was also part of a larger jail.
私にはあなたという人がますますにわからない。あなたはなぜこんなことをするのですか。
ベアトにゲームで負けたから腹いせでああ、これで少しは負けたムカつきも晴れてきたわ。ねえベアト、見てる？見えてる？そして覚えてる？あなたには絶対に奇跡は起きないって私約束したわよね。さあリオン、ベアトの目の前であなたを元の世界へ戻してあげる。感激の魔女たちはだるい一家団らんのシーンはもう縮小気味だそうよ。だからあなたがキリエに撃たれる直前の瞬間へ送ってあげる。そしてその瞬間をベアトに見せつけてあげる。死ねやゲロカスリオン。ゲロカスベアトの最後の希望。
Marquesa raised her Reaper scythe, swung it down with gusto, and plunged it deep into Claire's stomach.
綺麗に死ねたつもりだった。死骸を腹渡引きずり出して恥ずかしめるのが私の一番得意なことだってのに。
Heartlessly, ruthlessly, brutally, she swung the enormous blade buried in Claire's stomach back up towards the heavens. Along a vertical line from Claire's stomach to her chest, the blade cut deeply, slicing Claire open. Her red-black innards jutted out. Things I love to read. Jesus Christ. And then, like a dam breaking, they burst out of her stomach, covering the world with dark red entrails. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. I love the visuals. They're great. Ah! Oh.
イタリア人の黄金を奪うだと卑怯者め後ろ宮貴様それでも軍人か
お父様、私はお父様のことを敬愛いたしております。でもそのお父様の気持ちにはどうしてあなたたちは私を助けたんですか？どうして死なせてくれなかったんですか？私はあの時の大怪我でこんな体で生きさせられている。こんな体で生きていたくなんかなかった。こんな恋をすることもできない体でそんなの生きる価値がないんじゃないですか？そんなの人間じゃない、核じゃないですか。そう、私は核なんだ。どうして私はあの時に死なせてくれなかったんですか
When I came to, I was in the parlor of the mansion. When did I get here? I heard a sound behind me, then slowly turned around. And there...
ごめんね。悪く思わないでね。
I could see down the frigid barrel of the gun Aunt Kiria was pointing. Yeah, I guess so, yeah. It turned your stomach to status, I definitely can see why. Then, slowly she pulled the trigger. I could feel a razor-sharp wind pass through my body like a knife slicing through butter. Prepared for death and hoping to see my fate until the end, I slowly opened my eyes. The world had been cut in two. Kiria was frozen in place like a statue, still pointing her gun with a cold smile on her face. It had been cut in half at an angle, the top part of her slowly sliding off to the side. Eh? What is this music? What the fuck? Oh god, what's happening? No, that wasn't quite right. That wasn't right at all. It wasn't just Kirie. The whole world had been sliced in half at an angle and was slowly sliding off to one side. Fissures seemed to appear across the world, and before I had any time to process it, the world shattered. Okay, banger alert, okay. The way it had started like the very first few bits were quite creepy, so I was a little bit, what's this? Oh god. Oh, Will! How is he so cool? How is he so cool? Right.
あなたは
猫を飼ってると飼い主も似るもんさ。
Sword battler, yeah. He pointed at Bruncast with the tip of the pitch-black sword that had sliced the world, glaring at her. Dark red hair battler.
何？戻ってきたのは気まぐれだって言いたいの？
お前がいい話で終わらせるわけがねえ。そこまでベアトリーチェが憎いか。
私が勝ち逃げなんて許すと思う？
Yeah, those taters, he is.
私に敗北の屈辱を味わわせてくれた分、私根に持つと100年は忘れないわね。
根のくれえやつだ。
私の心をないがしろにしないでほしいわね。
大丈夫かリオン。どうしたおい。
Leon had suddenly doubled over, groaning.
胸が痛いんです。これは。
Will roughly grabbed the hand that was pressed against Leon's chest and tore it away. Blood was seeping out of the place that Leon's hand had been. It was the place that the bullet would have entered if Kirie had shot Leon.
リオンの体が受け入れかかっているのよ。自分の運命をね。
リオン、しっかりしろ。くそ、鎖か。
When Will tried to pick Leon up, he finally noticed the chains attached to each wrist and ankle.
なに？連れて逃げる気？逃がさないわよ。
Yeah, okay, I can see the song is a banger.
リオンが血を吐いて、あまたの世界すべてに希望がないことを絶望して、もだえながら死ぬところを今からみんなで鑑賞して楽しむんだから。
リオンは見せ物じゃね
Will swung his pitch black sword and destroyed the chains binding Leon. The chains and shackles shattered into little bits like glass, then vanished.
私の遊びを邪魔するの？
え。てめえは神じゃねえ。できるのは運命を嘲笑うことだけだ。リオンの運命はリオンが決める。人間の運命をおもちゃにするんじゃねえ。
元老院の魔女、この大ベルンカステルによくそれだけのことを言えたわ。
Yeah, there's quite a wide assortment of songs for any mood. Any mood.
リオンだけじゃなく、あんたも用済みなのよ。ベアとのファンタジーをミステリーだと断言してぶった切ってくれた。あんたの役目はそれでおしまい。おとなしく帰っていればそれで見逃してやったのに。のこのこと戻ってきたからには私のおもちゃにされても文句は言えないわね。おいでなさい、私の可愛い子猫たち。みんなでガリガリとひっかいてきれいに生皮を剥いてあげてちょうだい。ぶどうの皮をつるんとひんむくみたいにね。
Okay. When Burkessa clapped her hands twice, countless pairs of glaring jewels appeared all around Will and Leon. They were clearly cat eyes, but their breathing sounded far more terrifying than any cat.
ウィル、
任せろ。猫の爪切りなら慣れてる。
The number of jewels surrounding them already reached into the thousands. Will pointed his sword in one direction after another, warding off the surrounding cats.
リオン、しっかりしろ。お前は撃たれてなんかいねえ。撃たれたことを、いや、撃たれることを認めるんじゃねえ。
The only cats that I wouldn't pay. Yeah, I am of the same sentiment, most Chan. Leon tried to fight an incredible tearing pain. No, it was a fight against the promised future that Brancastle had shown. However, the gouging stake representing that future, which the Witch of Miracles had guaranteed would hold absolutely no miracle, was firm and merciless. Bit by bit, and yet unceasingly, it continued to pierce Leon's chest.
いいか、俺が一瞬だけ包囲を破る。 そしたら全力で走れ。どこまでもまっすぐな。方向は大事じゃない。ここから遠ざかることだけを意識して、ただひたすらにどこまでも走れ。
可能な限り努力します。
Well, the novel attempts at the very minimum to teach us how to see even the worst people with love. And so Chinarin sees Burncastle with a lot of love, which is, it's her prerogative, you know?
無理な時は許してください。
無理な時、弱音を吐くな。俺が許さねえ。クレルも許さねえ。お前はクレルの257万8917分の1の希望だろうが、お前が諦めたらお前は無数の世界のお前たちを裏切るんだ。だからくじけるんじゃねえ。あがいてあがくんだよ。奇跡を探すんじゃねえ。お前が奇跡になるんだ。
Mm-hmm, I agree. And Chidori loves Burncastle. It's just what it is. We take it for what it is. And we do not judge.
私が
Oh.
奇跡に。
お前は幸せな未来へたどり着くんだよ。くじけるんじゃねえ。弱音を吐くんじゃねえ。もう一度弱音を言ってみろ。今度は俺がお前の尻をつねってやる。
Indeed, Thostaters, and yet we love so many of them for different things, in different doses. I guess that's in a way embracing the spirit of the novel itself. Except for this. To each their boundaries. It's okay.
この奇跡の魔女の前で奇跡になれとよくも言えたものだわ。奇跡など所詮はファンタジー。ミステリーで断罪されたこの世界で這いつくばって無慈悲に虫けらのように死になさい。感激の魔女たちはそれを見届けたくて心待ちにしているのよ。
何がミステリーだ。心のねえミステリーなんざ俺が認めると思うか。
Thank you, Will.
三味線になりてえ猫からかかってきな。めんどくせえ。まとめてかかってこいよ。 SSVD 首席異端審問官ウィラード H ライト。これが最後の刃だ。
打ちやれ子猫たち。
At once, all of the cat eyes opened wide, undulated and spun in a spiral, then swallowed Will up. But Will and Leon were not swallowed up. As though a balloon had expanded around the two of them and burst, the cats that had flown in at them from all directions were now being launched away.
あら、やるじゃない。
子猫に用はねえ。親猫しか眼中にねえんでな。奇跡の魔女ベルンカステル。伸びすぎた爪を研いでやら。
Another flash of the black blade spun in a black tornado and scattered the cats once more. Leon, realizing that this was the opening Will had planned to make, ran all out, hand on chest.
ウィル、走ります。
ダイアナはすぐ腹を壊す。ミルクは温めてから頼む。
Before Leon could ask Will to repeat what he had said, Will had already leapt onto the stage and was now confronting Burncastle. It was like the climax of a show. Loud cheers erupted from the pitch-black audience seating. On either side of Claire, who lay with her insides exposed, stood Will with his pitch-black sword, and Burncastle with the scythe that could harvest miracles from fate.
キリエとルドルフが犯人で島の人間を皆殺しにした。ディオンを客間に呼び出して射殺した。悪いな。そんな真実とやらミステリーが認めるわけにはいかねえ。こいつは全てファンタジーだ。
Interesting.
ファンタジー？そういうことにしてリオンの運命を逃れさせるつもり？やってごらんなさいな。
第一足手がかりすべての揃わぬ事件を禁ず。
Will's black sword had cut through Burncastle's body at a diagonal angle. However, it had no effect, like cutting the reflection of the moon on the water. Ah! Yeah, sometimes I have no patience and I skip them, but yeah.
何？手がかりって。
キリエとルドルフが犯人だとする。お前のミステリー。キリエたちが犯人であることを示す手がかりはいずれのゲーム中にも存在しない。
あるわけないじゃない。あったとしても島は丸ごと吹っ飛んだんだし。
つまり手がかりなしってわけだ。ならばそれはミステリーじゃねえ。ファンタジーだ。
It is impossible for an unprovable truth to become truth in the human world. In other words, even the truth cannot leave the cat box.
真実を猫箱に閉じ込めようというの？それがミステリーの戦い方なの？
With a laugh like the howl of a wild animal, Burncastle carelessly tossed her scythe aside.
戦うのさえもバカらしい。おいでゲロカス。
Why does she like this word so much? Jesus Christ.
好きなだけ私を切ってごらんなさい。あんたの言い分全部聞いてあげるわ。
We're all having a moment here. I see.
貴様、心をないがしろにしたミステリーをすべて貫く。に触れてやらう。
20のくさびで私を倒せなかった時覚悟することね。
I'm gonna skip it if it's there. I'm not reading that. Fuck that. This novel has already pushed a lot of my boundaries, and I've kind of let it, but I draw the line there.
遊んであげるわ。20のくさびとやら。
はあ。
Of course. I see. There's always more. Ay. I don't like these things. They take me back to Battler being locked up. I didn't like that. Trying to ignore an incredibly painful chest, Leon kept on running and running without stopping. I dashed out of the theater of the witches of theater going, then ran through an incomprehensible world of blackness. Before I knew it, I was running through a place that looked like a sea of stars, or maybe the bottom of the ocean with stars scattered around. If I get careless for a second, I'll probably trip. No, if I get careless, I won't be able to tell whether I'm running or just making running motions as I freefall, endlessly sinking deeper into the ocean of stars. I just kept on running without any goal or target. I mustn't stop moving. I mustn't fall here. If I fall, I'll crush the hope of the me's in countless worlds. The happy world that the Beatrices dreamed of. I'm their last hope, the only one who can reach that world. Even though I understand this, the witch who controls miracles has declared there will be no miracle. And the truth that she thrust in front of me with those words gouges cruelly into my chest. Leon finally succumbed to the fierce pain and fate and fell over. Leon's body was held roughly from behind and lifted up.
Riddle! 無事で。
割とそうでもねえ。くじけるんじゃねえ。尻をつねるぞと言ったはずだ。
Oh, this is so cool. Like, can we take a moment? But, like, what the heck happened to his arm and stuff? Oof.
ごめんなさい。本当にごめんなさい。でも、私はあの日、そこで殺される運命だった。
そうだな。人は誰だって最後には死ぬ運命だ。なら、その人生は全て無意味なのか違うだろう。人生の意味も価値も人生そのものすらも人が自分で描くんだ。
Yes.
押し付けられた運命が何だってんだ。受け入れるな。世界はお前が紡げ。自らで。
100%.
ウィル、あなたも左腕。
ああ、忘れてきちまった。
Only Will can be in such a chat and be like, oh, my arm? Well, I must have forgotten. Yeah, that's Bancha. Just chatting all over the place, yes.
取りに帰るのも億劫だ。
There were rips all over Will's body. Also, his left arm had been brutally torn off from the elbow. His clothes were in tatters and he looked like a blood-stained scarecrow. Then Leon noticed. Though this place had once felt like a sea filled with stars, both above and below them, those stars had now gathered together and were surrounding them. That huge number of stars grouped in even-numbered clusters all glared at the two of them. Will was holding Leon with one arm. He couldn't take his sword out, however, he didn't let go. He was determined to let Leon escape from here and to lead Leon towards the happy tale that the bad teachers had dreamed of. Through the cats whose eyes glowed in the empty darkness, the queen of cats who permitted no miracles appeared. Let's allow Chidorin to take this in for a second. There you are.
リオンを下ろしなさい。そしたらあなただけは見逃してあげるわ。
書面で大法廷に出せ。
Go file abroad. The moment you think he cannot chad any harder, he chads harder. Oh my god. You can put effort to pay.
Will.
Oh.
置いてはいかねえぜ。
I wanna be like Will when I grow up. Perfect goals. Yep, I approve of those goals.
お前に教えてやる。どうして俺が SSVD をやめるのかをな。
Oh.
そういえば私も知らないわ。
Yeah, so badass.
どうして？
クソったれな。お涙ちょうだいのミステリーばっかりに飽きたからだよ。ハッピーエンド上等。逃げ延びてやるぜ。俺が教えてやるんだよ。バッドエンドしかないと絶望して死んだベアトリーチェにハッピーエンドもありえるんだって教えてやるんだ。
Stop! Oh god. Oh no, actually don't stop. Please continue.
だから絶対にお前を殺さねえ。
In that one fragment where Battler isn't, so there is no Beatrice, and so there is no Battler to be Beatrice's prince, we got Will to be Leon's prince. Yes, 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 100%. Any time, any day or night, yes, 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 yes. We'll let the cats out. Hey Zeku. We're never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. Indeed. Oh, I'll never put you down.
ねえ子供、左の二の腕もくれてやるぜ。欲しけりゃ両足もくれてやる。だがな、絶対にリオンだけは離さねえ。俺が張ってでもこいつをお前というバッドエンドから逃がしてやる。
いいの？リオン、ウィルはあんたをかばって死ぬ気よ。嫌でしょ？私なんか放って逃げてくださいってお言いなさいよ。
ウィル。
おう。
私を離さないでください。逃げ延びます。絶対に。そしてあなたも。
それでいい。
As he said this, Will held Leon tight.
というわけだ。あがくぜ、ベルンカステル。
私たちは奇跡を諦めない。
絶対に奇跡は訪れないと奇跡の魔女が約束したのに、それをよくも口にできたこと。
Oh man.
さよなら、二人とも忘却の深淵で死すら迎えられずに誇りに降り積もられて消え去りなさい。さあ、子猫たち、殺せとは命じないわ。 その出番の終わったコマ2つをお片付けなさい。
My heart is literally beating out of my chest. Oh my god. Well, not literally, but you understand. Intensity. What the heck? A billion, a trillion, a quadrillion. Oh wow, yeah. Very, very smart. Very apt. A quadrillion cats. All bared their fangs. In the starry sky of cat eyes, countless flesh-colored mouths opened, exposing countless teeth. Oh lord, I really did not need that animation. I could live without it. The world was wrapped in flesh and blood and fangs. A lot of cats. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Lord. GG's. I guess we do need it after that. GG's. Okay. Let's see what this is. What more could it be? At this point. We're back here, okay. Two white pieces were set on the chessboard. The countless black pieces surrounding them were packed tightly together, not even placed onto squares anymore. Then Brancaster tipped the two white pieces over and took them off the board.
こんなところでおしまいでいいかしら?
In all fairness, I already had trust issues. It's okay. I guess it just comes with the experience.
やはりそなたの朗読は耳に馴染むぞ、我が巫女よ。
あんたのお望み通り、腹渡の内側まで書き出してやった。答え合わせにはこれで十分でしょ。
実に満足しているぞ。そなたが明かした答えを鍵に、これまでの物語を遡り、まるで宝石箱のような密室の数々を一つずつ開いていこう。鍵を得ることは楽しい。そしてその鍵で個々を開いていくことはもっと楽しい。ご苦労であった我が巫女よ。これより先は私一人でゆっくりと思考を楽しみたい。もう十分であるぞ。
The Witcher theater-going sat back in her rocking chair, a satisfied smile on her face, as though enjoying a pleasant aftertaste. There was no need for a game board anymore. She just had to go back in her mind through the whole set of tales to check whether her theory was right or not. It seemed to leave her pleasantly drunk, even better than the most expensive wine.
私はこれで用済みかしら。
ご苦労であった我が巫女よ。その任を解く。私は再び眠りにつく。この心地よきまどろみを数百年にわたって楽しみたい。そして私が再び飽きるとき、そなたは私を楽しませるためにまた新しい物語を見つけてくるのだ。それまでの数百年のひととき、そなたの自由を許す。あっぱれであったぞ、ベルンカステル。かわいい、かわいい、我が巫女よ。
知ったことじゃないわ。勝手に干からびて死になさいよ。じゃあね、未来永劫さようなら。
数百年ごときを そなたは未来永劫と呼ぶというのか？
Featherin's consciousness slowly faded away. As the owner of the study's slumber grew deeper, the lights above the room slowly darkened.
永遠におやすみ、アウアウローラ。このゲーム版はあんたにはもう不要よね。私がもらっていくわ。
Brancaster reached out towards Berto's game board, which lay on the table in front of Federine's rocking chair, and tapped it twice. The game board and the pieces flew into the air, folded up and put themselves away, then landed on Brancaster's outstretched right hand.
私、まだ全然ゲームマスターをやっていないのよ。私はベアとの葬儀をやっただけ。そして腹渡を引きずり出しただけ。まだ何にもやっちゃいない。
Brancastle's smile twisted evilly. Then the game board floated up once again, and the world unfolded itself above Brancastle's palm. Oh my god.
さあ、ベアとのゲーム版の駒たち、私を最高に楽しませる最高に残虐な物語を紡がせてあげるわ。おののきなさい。約束された絶対の運命を。奇跡の魔女ベルンカステルの名において、そしてベアとのゲームの最後のゲームマスターとして宣言するわ。ただ宣言するだけじゃつまらないわね。ベアとのゲームにのっとって赤き真実で宣言してやった方がいいかしら。
それがいいんじゃない？まだ甘い夢を見てる魔女どももいるみたいだし。
あらラムダ、いたの？いるわよね。私のいるところならどこへでも。
You just figured this out now?
言ってやりなさいよ。甘い夢見てる魔女どもに。
Is that supposed to be us?
そうするわ。奇跡の魔女として、そして最後のゲームマスターとして最後のゲームを宣言するわ。そして約束する。このゲームにハッピーエンドは与えない。
Okay. A single girl was crying in a desolate, quiet chapel. Yes, a small cry is... Objection: the definition of happy should be open to viewers' interpretation. Yeah, but also it's not up only just to burn. I think she's a little bit high on being the game master, but she's underestimating the other pieces at play, let's say. Yeah, that's my feeling about it, but I guess we'll see. Say it in blue. She was a small girl, only 6 years old. The girl who would, for 12 years starting now, lament the fact that she wasn't on the island on October 4th and 5th, 1986. NJ. Then a man appeared. The man noticed the girl, walked up to her quietly, trying not to scare her, and put an arm gently around her shoulder.
探したぞ、エンジェ。
The girl jumped into her big brother's chest and started crying again. Oh.
どうした？何をそんなに悲しんでいるんだ？
Why does he have his game master cape? What's happening? What is this?
今日クラスの子にいじめられたの。テレビでお母さんは悪い人たちとつながりがあったって。だからうちのお父さんとお母さんが犯人でみんなを殺したんだろうって。エヴァおばさんにそんなことないよねって聞いたのに答えてくれないの。お父さんとお母さんは悪くなんかないよね。ねえ。
No.
かわいそうに。みんながあの島であの日何があったのかを好き勝手なことを言ってるんだな。そこに教わり。
うん。
When the man pointed to the floor, a group of gold butterflies gathered there and created a chair. The girl obediently sat down on it. Yo, my heart.
お兄ちゃんは知ってるよね。お父さんとお母さんは悪い人じゃないって知ってるよね。
ああ、もちろんだとも。誰も悪い人なんかいないって知ってるさ。
うん。
じゃあ教えて。あの日何があったの？ロケン島で何があったの？
いいとも。話してあげるよ。あの日、あの島で何があったのか。
それは怖い話？
まさか。
それは悲しい話？
とんでもない。
それはどんな話？
He's gonna break my heart in 3, 2, 1. Oh, Zeku, 15 stream streak. Nice. Thank you very, very much. It's a hopeful one. It's a heartful one.
自分で決めるといい。
Tell me something good.
決して辛い話じゃないんだよ。
Oh.
だからお聞き。
うん。バトラーお兄ちゃん。
あの日、お兄ちゃんたちは六軒島へ行ったんだよ。とても大勢でね、大事な親族会議があることになってたんだ。うん。まずはどこから話したものかな。これがエンジェに捧げる最後のゲーム。お聞き、エンジェ。あの日、六軒島で何があったのか。これは辛い話でも悲しい話でもないんだよ。
No. That was a low blow, okay? Not having Battler on for almost the entirety of the episode, just like little glimpses of him, but not like him not being involved, and then giving me that at the end. Come on. Oh, but yeah, that's kind of like, you know, after all of this, the little bit of hope at the bottom of Pandora's box. It's Battler. Just one. Woof. Excuse me. Yep. Yeah. Oh, why? Oh, this main screen. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, let's have a look. Tips. Yes. SSVD. Yeah, alright, do we need this? One of the repentance enforcement agencies supervised by the Great Court of Heaven. Has a long history even by the standard of the other enforcement agencies and is known for its strictness and fundamentalism. Many say that the agency is at odds with the times, but it is also highly praised by some for still continuing to preserve the basis of the spirit of the law. It is traditional for the agency's chief inquisitor to inherit the name right. I see. Yeah, I mean, yeah. It is badass. It's... yeah, yes, please. Oh my god. Anyway, let's see characters. What do we have here? Is there anything in particular? I don't even know, because... I don't know if you can do anything to them. On the witch's side, we have the usual. We have Will as well. But I don't think there's anything particularly new. I don't know if you guys have something in particular that you want me to check. Oh, Claire. Very cute dress. I like. Her name signifies her position as the final guide in Battle's game. Execute. I can't do. It doesn't do anything. I'm clicking. Execute new people. You mean the new characters? I don't know if you can. Like Leon maybe. No, doesn't do anything. Yeah, Bear sent me the rules, but I haven't really refreshed my memory of them. Were they in the tips anywhere? I don't... No, it's just Orihime and Hikoboshi. Okay, all visual novels love to invoke this one. Shamisen. Ah, yeah, okay. The instrument. Yep. Yep. Okay. I don't know about characters there. I can just click on every single one if you like are willing to push through the borders, but okay, we can execute Kinzo and he turns into young Kinzo. Still with the white hair. Right, I see, it does that. spent half of his life living lethargically as a human puppet. Because of this, his mental age remains young and does not grow. Interesting. Thanks to the fascination with the West that he has held since he was a young boy, he is highly proficient with the English language. Yeah. Natsuhi. I forget sometimes how awesome Natsuhi's dress also is, because we never get to see the bottom, but like the layers and stuff. Very cool. We tried Leon already. Jessica doesn't do anything. Yep. Nandro is Nandro. Okay. Okay. That's all. This now. On Claire it doesn't do anything. On Will it doesn't. Maria is such a cutie pie as well. Ah, on Beato it Beatrice Castiglioni! An Italian, her father was a high official at the RSI, vivacious woman who did not lose their personality even after living a long time in a submarine. Yeah. Her clothes look super comfy. I like it. As all true fans know, Natsuhi's design was originally going to be for Beatrice. Oh, really? Oh, interesting. Interesting. It seems a little bit subdued, though, for Beatrice's personality, but okay. It's more fitting, like the current dress is more fitting for her. Since she was the only one of the Italians who could speak English, she began to form a close relationship with Kinzo, who was likewise the only Japanese person who could speak that language. Kinzo recalls that their meeting was when he learned what it meant to fall in love. Yeah, this meeting had a great effect on his fate and that of Rokkenjima. So we can do that. Yeah. Nothing for them, I'm assuming. Oh, change. Oh, you can change the stakes into their servant versions. Interesting. That's cute. I really like these skirts. They're super cool design-wise. You can't execute them, but you can switch their... Yeah, the text is the same. Cute. And Zeppelin and Furfur also nothing special. Okay, I think we saw everything. I find it interesting that all the skirts have the window in them. It's just that Shannon decided to get the crest tattooed there. I mean, yeah, I guess it's the uniform, otherwise she wouldn't be wearing it like willy-nilly, you know? But yeah. I think it's very cool. It was probably designed with this in mind, and then it was just repurposed for the stakes, and the stakes didn't have the tattoo because it wouldn't make sense. So yeah, I think this is all that we have over here. Let me ask another question though, before summoning Bancho, if he is up for being summoned. What are we doing next time? Do we have stories? Or do we jump into episode 8? What's the plan? Next episode? Okay. And then we have everything else at the end of next episode. No stories. Okay. Alright, gotcha. Thank you so much. Then yeah, we will jump into it, but next time. Because for tonight, I've... and then 100 streams of fighting. Oh god. I think even in one stream, yeah, I don't know. We will see. We will see. Let's see. What is my Discord doing? My Discord was kind of in the background. There we go. I have the feeling though that no matter how much I could possibly suck at it, it's gonna be cathartic in some way to play that. Kind of vent out all of the frustration and intense feelings. Yeah. You can play the bad guys so they get beat up. Okay, a bunch of... Who are the bad guys in this story? What is that? I don't think it might have been mentioned, but I have no idea what is it about. No playthrough is complete without it. Okay, okay. We have to watch the pachinko game videos with the crusty audio. You can play Avatrice. Oh, I see. And Erika. Okay. And Burn. Alright. Chidorin's fever dream realized right now. What's with the anime bunch? What do you mean? Uh-huh. Okay. I I take it that is sarcasm. Sick. Are you serious? I can't tell, okay? When it's just text on the screen, I can't tell what the level of sarcasm is and what is actually for real. Oh god. It's a move? Wow. Wow. They went that far with it, didn't they? Okay, okay, I see. Yeah, okay, let's not. Yeah. Oh, Battler. What can I say? He can't be just perfect, you know? He has to have, like, awkward cringe. You know, layers to himself, so this is one of them. And what do you do? What can we do? Still love him, you know? Ay, ay. He carries the black blood of Kinzo after all. Ay. Okay. Okay, I see, I see. Well, whenever you feel like it, I guess let me just quickly check my devices because I reinstalled a few things, or like updated a few things and restarted the PC before the stream, and things happen sometimes because of course they do. Let's see, where is the audio? Wait, are you seriously? I have streamer mode enabled because I'm streaming, and so Discord is not showing me information about stuff. Okay, I found it. Headphones, chat mic, yeah. Okay, everything should be fine. Let's see. Where are you? And Rudolph Blood. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, alright. I can call you, yeah? Just double checking so I don't take you by surprise. And gag me really. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Hi. Hi. Hello. You are officially ungagged and released. Go ahead.
I can speak.
Yes.
So you see, it made sense, the main episode ends and it's quite wholesome and classy and respectful, and it wraps up the mystery and it's nice. So it was a good opportunity to talk about it, and they say, oh, you should talk to your fellow witches in a tea party and talk about this. I'm like, yeah. But the chat was like, no, we must suffer before we get any satisfaction whatsoever. It's like, okay, fine. Fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I have
Sorry, Bear is cracking me up. Yeah, go ahead. We're here, okay? We're doing it. It's fine.
I have a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good, because I don't know if I have any answers, but at least we can fill in the time with something.
Yeah. Before that, I want to see if you have questions, and before that, I want to say that this was pretty much the one.
Okay.
In terms of wrapping up at least one of the main parts of the story. You can call it the main one, the mystery part of it. Then we're going to get into the one that actually matters, but that's for next time. And because of that, there's a lot that I am now officially open. You unlocked answers to questions that you might have. You don't need to have any questions. In fact, there's many things that maybe you don't know and you don't necessarily want to ask about. That's okay. Yeah. That's totally okay. But I'm telling you, whatever you need some clarification for, except for some things, I am willing to give that to you. Okay, so do you have any questions?
Like right off the bat, I don't know if I do, in terms of, it's not that I have all of the answers, but like you said, I don't know if I need to ask those questions right now.
Okay.
So I'm okay.
But,
but maybe they can crop up over us talking about something specific, because like it's just like, do you have any questions? Okay. About which piece of this Himalayan mountain that we just climbed? I mean,
exactly.
So
one of the things that now I want to ask about is actually about something we saw recently. Was that that final-ish segment in the tea party with the red color? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. Like it looked like some sort of flashback.
Yeah,
black and white and red tinted.
3 different scenes. And I was wondering what you got from those.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Because it seems to want to be suggestive of something, but I'm not sure what to make of it. Because there was Beatrice complaining about being saved, or like, I don't even know what to call this character, but okay. If you have a preference, I can adapt. Right, so she was in a way complaining about, why did you save me? Why do I have to live in this body?
Right.
Which, okay. The guts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That ends up being the most interesting one. Also the toughest one. So what about the other 2?
I think this one kind of like took over, and I don't remember right now what the other 2 are.
It's basically one for each of the 3 Beatrice women. Let's call it that. Call it that group. So the first one was in young Kinzo era.
Yeah, with when the thing happened with the Italians, and okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second one was her daughter, and then the third one was the other one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what did you get from the other two?
I'm not sure right now if I was supposed to get something specific.
It's okay if you didn't, but it's just because it's easy to miss certain things. It's also it's an auto-scrolling.
Was that's what I was about to say. It didn't allow me to read at my pace, and I was just kind of like, okay, kind of like in the panic. I need to read, but then when you think about having to read, are you really fully reading? So I guess I kind of like it was a moment like that. I would have to look back and pause it and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they will be posted on the Discord, so you can look at them. But okay,
yeah, but the one with the body kind of stood out the most.
Yeah,
to me, so that one kind of like that's the one I remember.
It's the most interesting / important one, anyway. Yeah. What did you feel about that one?
I mean, it seems to tie a little bit together the idea of like, or this obsession with being furniture and somehow being an incomplete or not even a human because of that. But I'm not really sure what it specifically concretely means. Like, why? I don't know. Because it felt like in just in the moment where my mind went, it felt like someone who had gotten injured after an accident and then being upset that they have to live with the disability somehow.
Right.
But how could that apply to the child? Because somehow it gave me the sense of like someone who knew what life was before and after the accident, and then complaining like not complaining, but just being like, I don't want to live like this because it's, I don't know, inconvenient in many ways, I guess.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it is interesting in that exact way because it reads like something that was recently discovered, even though we know what it refers to, and that was at the beginning of this person's life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it feels like something that was recently discovered while still being something that has a huge impact. So it's weird. It's weird to find the intersection of these things where something could fit. But that's an exercise left to the reader, which is you.
Yeah, I assume this much.
With whatever help you may want.
It's all right. I think one thing that this episode as a whole brought me to, and like as an internal conclusion, is that I'm actually okay with not having everything explained or having answers to everything. I can exist with the multiple possibilities of the cat box and not having to open it up and figure out exactly which one it is for some things.
Yeah. Okay. For example, one of those is what is Leon's actual sex?
Does it matter?
No. That's what the story says. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah,
fine.
It's okay. It's awkward talking about them because I don't know which way to address them, I guess, and just say, I guess, Leon.
By name, yeah, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So let's get into the meat of things, okay? Let's get into it because there are questions that are able to be answered, and you can answer in whatever way you want. But let's talk about who done it.
Oh.
Who is the culprit? Actually, after all these episodes, what did we get?
I think we got how do I put it? this idea that I guess was kind of floating in the air in all of the episodes, that basically all of them had motivations and the capability to do it. But now, for me to sit down and pinpoint exactly, oh, it was this, I don't know, because it might seem like in certain moments, like, oh, it's leading up to this, okay, this is probably how it is. But in moments like that, I kind of catch myself, I'm reading Umineko. I've been reading it so far. I don't feel comfortable jumping to conclusions.
Okay.
In the sense of, oh, this has to be it. This is 100% it. Because I don't know how to explain it, but like, the episode gives you the sense that it's laying down the foundation and the backstory of like how we came into this situation, and it indicates that, okay, this is the potential culprit and this is why they did it. But it stops right when actually filling in the blank of like, how did this person who has been suggested this whole time that it is the culprit, how did they get to the point of actually doing it? It stops there. And that makes me wonder, okay, is it really because it wants me to fill in the gaps? Is it just a thing in the sense of like, let's not really give everything away right away because we still have something to do in the next episode, and, you know, it's probably more in the direction of catering also to the mystery audience who, how do I put it? Maybe they would want some sort of confirmation, but not like the 100% thing, just to still leave a little bit up in the air, I guess, for now. But on the other hand, I'm just like, I don't know if I'm comfortable filling in the blanks and the gap and being like, okay, oh, this is it. This is the reason. And this is what they did. Plus, the whole thing with that Burn was showing, I don't really know exactly what it fully meant, but it just made me think the whole time that, yeah, indeed, I mean, this whole time we've been here with all of these people who had all of these motivations and were driven by all of these ideas, and then the potential of like a mountain of money could drive anyone crazy. And so this could also be a way to piece things together as well. And the potential exists in everybody. So that's kind of where I am with that.
Yeah, it honestly does end up being a pretty ambiguous question. So yeah, especially, I mean, regarding what Byrne showed us just now, she presents a pretty clear scenario. That one is fairly clear. But that's not necessarily the one that we mean if we talk about this. So let me make it less ambiguous.
Okay.
What are we talking about when we have a character that is represented by Claire, and she tells her whole thing, and then explains the murders from the episodes one by one, right? In that final sequence for her funeral, right?
Yeah.
Or rather, Will does,
yeah.
but yeah. So what are we talking about for that specifically?
Will indicates that he has understood certain things, but doesn't fully reveal it.
Yes.
Right.
So who are we talking about in terms of who is behind those and that?
Who in terms of... Oh wait, there's something. Yeah, Will did say that. We don't need to know about the last 2 years. Yeah, that's the thing where I am also uncomfortable going in and filling in the blanks for those 2 years. Like, oh yeah, this is probably how things unfolded. It's just I guess it's a personal thing of mine that I don't want to jump to conclusions about people in general. I mean, this is a character in the story, but it's just my attitude of like,
Yeah.
even when it seems that something is clear cut and say, oh yeah, they must have gone from point A to point B. I can see the direct line between them. This is likely what happened. But until it's actually confirmed by the person themselves in some capacity that leaves no room for ambiguity, I feel it's wrong of me to go and make that conclusion about them. You know, that's where my conflict arises from. But I do understand that we're in the context of this mystery novel, and like the whole idea of Claire was that she wanted to be understood without explaining, right? Which is then, because of my conflict, I cannot provide it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Your question was who, but
Yeah. Very specifically who, because there's a lot of questions about how did things unfold in those 2 years, and why is still a really big question.
Yeah.
I wasn't satisfied with that one with this episode.
Yeah, that's exactly, because I don't feel comfortable fabricating the motive.
Yeah.
With what we have
Because
so far.
it to me it was not obvious. I saw a lot of motive for other things, but not necessarily for this thing. But that was me. People have different levels of.
There's also one thing that confused me in this particular sense as well. There's something at some point that's being said that if Battler had come back 1 year earlier or one year later, things would have been different.
Right.
So why is it that when he comes back that particular year, things happen like this? So there has to be something extra there.
Yes. That's
right?
a good question to think about.
Because
why specifically that year?
If the motivation came from this whole ordeal with the origin of this person and what happened and frustrations towards Kinzo and towards Kinzo's family and so on, and it led to that, why is it that specifically Battler's presence tips things over? Right? So I don't know how to fill in that blank. I could speculate, but I don't want to. Sorry about that.
It would have to be an intersection of something. So Battler's return intersecting with something else, something that specifically happens in that year, right?
Yeah.
Of course, that's the only version of the world that we see. It's that intersection happening, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to see how it would have been otherwise. But of course.
Yeah, but it's very interesting to me because it's this whole line is like, if only Battler had returned 1 year later, none of this would have happened.
Yes and no, they don't necessarily say that.
Or sure.
They say although it wouldn't happen like this, maybe a different sort of incident would have taken place. Something like that. Is how they usually put it.
Yeah, but the idea I'd like of just hypothesizing, if only Battler had returned 1 year later, that means that there would be a future 1 year later where things would go differently somehow.
Yes.
Right, so why? Yeah.
So even though we all have a name in our heads, and you have it too, you will not say it out of respect.
I don't know. Even if
you
I
will
were
not
to
make
say
the accusation.
Even if I were to say it, what name do I use?
Whichever one you want, I suppose. I mean, that's a good question in itself. This question, by the way, is really just to gauge where you are at in terms of the understanding of this episode, just because it is, in theory, meant to be such that if you know, you have your or if you have good theories, you get them confirmed. If you are, but if you don't really have that understanding yet, you will not have any confirmation. That's the idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to gauge after these answers were given, where you are at in terms of what you think. Yeah.
Yeah, I just. I guess I've been living with this in my head all this time, but I never really sat down to articulate them. And now that I'm here, I'm not sure I have the right words. Seku. Sorry.
Okay. Let me. Okay. I will do it differently.
Okay.
Let me call culprit. Let me define that to mean the person whose backstory we get in that thing. Okay.
Okay.
Let me do that. In that backstory, that person is given a name, which is Yasu, is the one that we read, right?
Yep.
Obviously,
don't
this
like
is a
it.
new name.
So this is another
Yes,
conflict
they don't like it. True.
in my heart because they
Yeah.
specifically said, "Don't call me that." Yeah.
It's bullying. I don't know how concerned I am with the fictional characters' feelings, but I will try not to use it though. But yes, that of course is a new name that we haven't seen before. So it's pretending, it's kind of like.
Sorry, Bear. It's okay that I'm here. Yeah. No, we can say Yasu with the understanding that we're just using it as a way to address this person that is very complicated to address, and we have no ill will towards them. Okay.
So let me ask you this, a more specific question. Given that this person was in a weird situation because they were younger than everyone else, and other things, one of those things was that their room arrangement was different. In what way was it different?
The what arrangement?
Their room arrangement.
The room.
The other servants were complaining that they had to live or they had to stay in a specific kind of room, but that other servant was privileged in some way that they had a different type of room.
As I remember, Genji was like making sure that they stayed alone in the room. Is that what you're talking about, or?
If alone is the answer, sure, that is an answer. Yeah, of course. Would we see slightly different, right?
Yeah, in the sense that there was this thing mentioned that in order to hide the identity, made sure that like, keep them away from others, don't have them share a room with someone else and stuff like that, right?
Right. But then what we actually see in terms of that?
Yeah,
at least in the beginning.
We see them sharing a room with Shannon.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is interesting in many ways. One of the ways is that the servants complained that only that servant got to stay in a non-3-person room, which is obviously not true, because if it was, or rather, it can't be that it's a 2-person room, because if it was, then
it would be a 3-person room.
The other roommate would also be someone that is not staying in a 3-person room.
Yep. Okay.
So they're referring to a 1-person room.
Yeah.
Yes. So what does it mean that we are shown 2 people in that room?
Well, I was a bit on the fence there because it was all like a lot of information, and I did have a period of time where I tried to see, okay, is it just an actual thing? Maybe things changed at some point or somehow. But after that final scene, let's say, not final scene, but the scene where they decide to become Beatrice. Right. It was made very clear that, okay, no, something is afoot here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta question it. It's not that I wasn't questioning it before, but I was kind of like dabbling also in the idea that maybe it is actually that. And actually, for a moment, I was like scared. Does that mean that like they hurt Shannon or something? So no.
Right.
No.
This is genuinely. I thought maybe you're thinking this.
What do you mean?
When we were reading that,
Yeah.
the way that you react to that, I thought,
Yeah,
I think
I
that
was
she's
I was
thinking this.
I was quite scared, and then all of the details that came afterwards just didn't match. And so I was like, no, that's not it. Okay, we can let it go.
Right.
Okay, it's fine.
Right.
So I let it go.
Okay, so what
It's
is it
fine.
actually?
Well, I did think a lot about what this Shannon even is. I thought about it initially. Shannon was actually a real person, maybe, that then, because it is said at some point that everyone moved on, right? That everyone who had come to be servants before or at the same time as Yasu decided to move on, and they were the only one left.
Yeah.
But Shannon was still there. And I was like, how does that match? You know? So, hey, Weber, it's okay. The VOD is there, you can check it out. Right, so I was then flipping between two possibilities. One, either there maybe was someone there originally called Shannon.
Yeah.
Who was actually nice to them or something. And they developed a certain bond or connection. And the moment Shannon, the real Shannon, left, there was an emptiness left. And I projected probably a little bit of my own childhood experiences. Because I had several consecutive full summers of my life when I was little, where my parents took me away from living in the city with them to live with my grandma for like three months or the whole summer. And I made friends with some other girls my age around there. And initially, the first year that I bonded so heavily with them that when I came back, I was really sad that I couldn't spend time with them anymore. So I started playing out in my head, like, what if she were here and we were playing with the dolls right now? And I would imagine like dialogues and so on with that person. Like a semi-imaginary friend, I guess, as a kid. And so I could project a little bit of that into the idea that maybe once this real Shannon person left, they kind of like projected her into their minds as being there where she actually wasn't there. So that was one thing that kind of I was thinking about.
Right. Was there a second thing?
A second thing was that maybe there was never a Shannon person and it was always something conjured up in Yasu's mind. And the idea that everyone was just mean to them. And so they created a projection of someone that might be nice to them. And that was Shannon.
Right. So
I used to be a witch,
at the very...
I guess.
Doing magic, yeah. At the very least, it can't be the Shannon we're familiar with all the way through, because that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, there are too many things that just don't match.
Yeah. One of them being that supposedly, at that time, she was 6 years old. Supposedly she starts working when she's 6, which is something that it's easy to not pick up on.
No, I picked up on it, but I just, at some point I was like, okay, I don't know, maybe it's a thing. They start working as very young. I don't know. Yeah.
But, even if we accept that at the beginning of the story without questioning much, then we should expect a Shannon with that age at that time, and that's not what we see. We see the one we're familiar with, actually quite different because she is very competent.
Yes, that was one of that giveaways. Like, wait, what, Shannon?
Yeah.
Like, okay, the Shannon that like Natsuhi was yelling at in the beginning? No, that doesn't fit. Because like she didn't serve the tea properly or something. Yeah, okay.
So with just that, it could be either one of those possibilities. And in fact, the first one you gave is still believed by some people to explain certain things in an alternate theory, but that's not important because that one is wrong.
Okay.
But it could also still be like that. But it is a one-person room, so at the very least there was some imagining going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that.
So let me now
I
ask
think
you
I think the
this.
thing that
Go on.
really kind of drove it home for me was like, oh, there used to be a second bed and now there isn't a second bed. And I'm like, how would that work? People hauling furniture in and out and like, yeah, okay, there was never a second bed.
Yeah. Okay, so now let me ask you this. Each servant has their own name, which isn't necessarily the name that they're given by their parents because they're all orphans. So, but then they have a servant name that they call a blessed name. So if all of them have that, what is the blessed name of this servant that we're talking about?
You mean in terms of like Shannon and Kanon were using those names, let's say these kind of names.
Even
the
though
one
they
with
have
on
true
at the
real
end.
names.
I'm not sure. Maybe if it was mentioned, I forgot. I don't know.
Because here's the thing. This might sound completely unrelated, but
Sorry.
Even though we're kind of on the road of that Shannon was imaginary, the servants in the flashback do mention her.
Mm-hmm.
And even without that, Shannon is known by everyone, at least in our time. So at some point, that name enters the.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a little bit of context. So yeah, do you have any idea?
I'm not sure even what the question is. What the blessed name of Yasu is?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. I did.
Okay. Okay, then what does it mean when the servants in the flashbacks refer to Shannon that we are saying is imaginary? How does that not break everything that we were thinking?
Right, because we're going with the idea that there was never a real Shannon to base things on.
Right.
And it was only in Yasu's mind.
Yeah. So who are they talking about?
I mean, the only option would be Yasu, but...
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So it's quite clever the way that it is done because when in those scenes they make it seem like these servants are talking to two different people by using two different names, but actually it might just be that in some context they're referring to the person as Yasu, and in other contexts they're using their blessed name to refer to them.
Mm-hmm.
And for someone that is not paying attention, it perpetuates the idea that two of them are there and are different, right? Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. And so from the perspective of the family, nothing changed. Shannon was always there.
Mm-hmm.
Because they always knew that name as the blessed name of that servant. So nothing changed. They always knew this person, right? It makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
It ends up just being a detail, but yeah. Okay. So, going back, okay, this was all just to get back to if we could point to someone, it doesn't, we don't have to do this, but if we could point at a culprit, preferably with familiar names that we have, not trying to condition anything, but preferably one of the 18, as they say.
Yeah.
What does it look like the person that is represented by Claire is? Who is that person?
Yasu, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whose blessed name is what?
I suppose it's Shannon.
Yeah, I think this makes sense.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
And yeah.
I just because and I just kept maintaining over the episode the possibility of like these two things in my head as I was reading. So I guess I didn't really fully land on either one of them. I still, even if you tell me that the one where there was originally a real Shannon and then they left, that it's not true, then I don't know how to reconcile this idea that there was this perception of Shannon that was a great servant that excelled at her job.
Right.
Because Yasu was always struggling, as I could pick it up.
Right.
So there are a few details like that I don't know how to put together, but I mean, that's okay. I'm okay, personally, not being able to put them together.
Yeah.
But then, because we're trying to go this route, I guess I haven't had the chance to fully process it, so I'm still kind of in my head maintaining a separation somewhere. So maybe that's why I'm struggling a little bit with answers.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I think.
Go ahead.
I think you're fine. Okay. So, regarding this is a question that I think I know the answer, but regarding that segment where Will is quote unquote solving all the mysteries, did you glean anything from that in terms of answers for them?
I think there were a few that made me, okay, maybe I should pay attention to something in that direction, but it was like just a fleeting thought in the moment. And I didn't go back to revisit anything, even based on those fleeting thoughts, because there's just so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, I decided not to. I definitely would, if I did do that, look at it with completely different eyes than I did in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I don't know what this is. So maybe when doing that, I would things would crystallize a bit more in my mind. But just through the sequence itself of wills, not so much, because also my memory of everything is just so faded. That,
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And you can only get so far with illusion to illusion, earth to earth, whatever. It's not super. Yeah. Bea asks, "What about Gap stealing Yasu's things?"
Yeah, I don't have many alternatives to that. That is one part that I guess I instantly connected with because I am similar to that. Yeah. So my only, I don't know if answer is the right word, but just my only explanation for it is this. It's like actually struggling with not necessarily forgetting, but just because forgetting is not the right word for like when you misplaced, or like the way Yasu was misplacing things. They just like never registered in their mind where they left it, and they imagined or something, or like their mind was conjuring up in this attempt to fill in the hole, was conjuring up bits and pieces of other instances where they may have used that object, and so Yasu could think, oh, I must have left it there, and then go look and be like, oh, it's not actually here. This is a reality of my life every single day. So I live through this. I leave things lying around in places, and then I'm like, where did I leave it? If I don't walk around the house a couple dozen times every day looking for something that I don't remember where I never really registered where I left it, it's just not a day in my life, you know. So to me, I connected to that kind of thing.
And now you know it's the side boob demon girl.
Yes, it's Gab around my house haunting, and yeah. So
that makes sense to me.
That part I connect so directly that I'm even afraid that I'm projected too much of myself into it. But it's also, to me, it's so clear because I live it. So yeah.
Talking about things that are super clear. How about that epitaph solution? How did you find that?
It was interesting. What can I say?
Yeah. Do you retroactively think, maybe I could have done that?
Oh, not a chance in hell.
Yeah.
But I did have the feeling from the very, very beginning that it was some sort of word game, some sort of word play, that gouging and killing didn't actually mean gouging and killing, and that it was interpreted in this way purposefully for the murders, but that wasn't the original intent. That was the only glimpse that I could have. And then there was, which episode was this, when Rosa was thinking about it and like kind of made it into a wordplay. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. It's probably some wordplay thing, but I wouldn't have been able to, like, Taiwan, Japanese things, characters in like the old way of writing the name of the thing. Okay, I'm fine. I'm okay at not being able to solve that. It's fine.
Which is by design, as we saw. It wasn't meant to be solved. It was meant to be... Well, what was your understanding of what it was meant for, and what was meant to be done with it?
If I understood it right, which maybe I did not, I don't know. It was Kinzo's intent at which is the right word? Not kind of demonstrating, but kind of confirming that Yasu is who he probably already thought Yasu was. So it was kind of targeted always towards this, and not so much for anyone else, I guess. Although I'm not really sure exactly why it would be something that only Yasu could figure out.
Right. Well, it isn't. But you are right. What it was it was basically a message for Genji to propel someone specific to do it.
Mm-hmm. Right, so it was kind of like an unspoken exchange between him and Genji without actually having the confrontation of like, Genji, I know what you did.
Yeah. They do have a conversation where Kinzo is crying about his past sins as per usual, and Genji asks him if she was to come back to life, what would you do?
Yeah.
And apparently Genji was satisfied enough with that answer that he decided to go ahead with it. Yeah. The specifics of this, are, I think, up to each one to think. The manga makes some. It suggests something specific for people that accept it. Go ahead. For people that don't, that's okay. But it's kind of up to you to which extent Kinzo was aware. Like, did he know? Did he highly suspect? Did he highly suspect that the baby had survived but not know exactly who it was? That's up to you.
I think there was some line at some point that was suggestive of like Kinzo knowing something. I forget the exact words.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it's literally Kinzo knew. I think
I
that's
also
what
too.
they say.
Yeah, I have the same sense that he was. If he had doubt, I don't know if he would have gone like so targeted and so specific. I think he knew as well.
Yeah, and he put it up, and they had that conversation, and Genji was like, "Okay, I guess it's time."
Right, Taiwan. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which makes this is the reason why the epitaph is so difficult, is because it's not meant to be solved. It's meant to be for you to be helped with in solving it. Yeah. Okay.
But
Great.
also, I think a lot of in solving the thing, there is a significant chunk that relies on the mechanism itself.
Oh yeah.
To figure out like how it all ties in, because otherwise, okay, I'm playing with these words, but I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do with them, and
Of
what
course.
this leads to, right? Because even if you take away letters, like what, like on paper, if you didn't have that, let's say it, but you still had the ability somehow to go through the whole metaphorical aspect of it, and then through the kanji games and stuff. Then without the mechanism thing, like how would you or maybe maybe it's wrong to say that, because I'm pretty sure there must have been some clues or some suggestions sprinkled in the beginning, but how do you come to the whole thing that there's this mechanism with these letters specifically, and when you do this it opens up stuff? Like, I don't know. I think that plays a big part in it. And
yeah, of course, if anyone manages to get to the final word solution, they did it. They solved it. Like,
yeah, okay. But then I think it's kind of like, sure, you solved maybe some sort of word riddle, but you haven't figured out the significance of it.
No, of course, because it doesn't matter to reach that point. You don't get much from it. The value is in understanding what the epitaph is for. And by the way, I'm glad that I can openly talk about Umineko now, or a bit more openly, because I really like how in the beginning there is this question of, okay, is this a riddle to become the head, or is this a magical ritual to resurrect the witch? Actually, it's kind of a mixture of both. It's not really a riddle that is open to everyone, first off, but it is meant for the person that he wants to be alive to come back, and that's what happens. So it is to resurrect her.
Yeah, in that sense. Figuratively, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what happens. But it isn't in a murder game thing. And
definitely not.
It's not really to choose the successor, because the successor was chosen.
It was already chosen
in his heart all this time.
There wasn't even a choice. Like there's no other option. This is it. This is the one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Arismoth wants to add that at the end of episode 6, Kinzo shows Kanon specifically how to use his firearms. Right. So it's in that segment, I think, where Kanon is, well, it's towards the end, around the part where Kanon is going to save Battler. Yeah, it's around that part. Yeah.
Okay.
So this would be to suggest that he did know and knew about this person specifically, and yeah, okay. The reason why I personally, this is me personally, my opinion, why I think that it is strange for him to know for sure rather than highly suspect is that then I fail to really see what the point of the epitaph really is. Because to me, it's for Genji to confirm, right? It's for Genji to say, yes, you are right. This is the baby. That's what it is in my view. So if Kinzo already knew, I don't think there would be a point to this. But maybe it's different. Maybe it would be to make it so.
Maybe it was to get Genji's approval in a sense.
Yeah, maybe if he felt that he needed to be at least not necessarily forgiven, but given that permission by Genji, which he always felt that he judged him for what he did.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, up to each.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would go for that personally.
Great. Just to be different from me. Okay, I see.
No, it's what comes naturally to me. Yeah, I guess that's what I also felt in the moment. So it was kind of like a nudge of.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm trying to repent. Do you accept my repentance? To whatever degree Genji could, because of course Genji was not the one that Kinzo hurt.
Right. Okay. Again, with the specific question, what did Kinzo do that he's so regretful over?
Why do you ask me that?
I just want to know your level of, how do you see this?
With a big knot in my stomach. I don't know. How do I see it? In what sense?
In the sense of, I mean, you can put it in whatever way you want. I just want to be aligned, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Right. But okay, I think it was quite clearly stated, right? So I don't necessarily have doubts in that regard. I'm just very uncomfortable with it.
Right.
So it's hard to just say the words, but
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't want to, you don't have to. But I think at least.
Yeah, like exactly. We're all on the same page. It's fine.
I think we are. Yeah. So I'm not going to ask you what you think about that, but I did want to talk about that scene where they finally meet, the resurrected Beatrice and Kinzo, because people in chat were saying, some people hate this scene.
Right, when he dies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you were saying, well, this novel shows that, or tells us that everyone deserves, forgiveness, or, at the very least, it's not like after it's done, he could do anything differently from what he did, many of those sorts of things, right?
Yeah, Moth-chan. We understand. It's okay. Yeah.
What I wanted to... Yeah, no, go on, please.
Okay. I mean, if you wanted to also extrapolate on the question, please go ahead and I can say it after.
No, please.
Yeah, what I was saying is not necessarily that everyone deserves forgiveness. I think forgiveness is very personal and up to each to give or decide not to give when you are wronged or hurt by someone else. But I think the main idea is to see the people as human, and by that it also means seeing not just the things that they did wrong or the things about them that are not pleasant, but also seeing their struggles and just trying to align at a human level with them. So that's where I was coming from in that. I don't know if he deserves forgiveness. That was already stated that like there was an extensive bit about forgiveness in that thing, and I also don't think he was looking for it the way I saw the scene. I think what he was looking for is the chance to get this thing out of himself and express it to the person, or like the closest person to the one that he hurt.
Yes.
Because not inadvertently, but indirectly through that also hurt Yasu, right? But like initially the person that he hurt was Yasu's mother. Right. So Yasu's mother cannot come back, okay? He cannot like come there and say, I am so sorry, I did a terrible thing, right? So this is the thing that as I saw it, tormented him for 19 years, right? And I think it's a great contributor to the state of mind that he was in, especially as we see him towards the end of his life. Right? So he carried this heavy thing for like an enormous amount of time, and this instance just gave him the chance to set it down for a little bit and actually articulate towards the person who is actually like in some way involved in this situation, say, I am so sorry for this. And that's just a slight bit of relief that I felt that he got in that moment. But that is not forgiveness, and that is not necessarily redemption. I know the novel did say something, or Genji said something about him being redeemed. I don't think that redeems him. But at the same time, what could possibly redeem him?
Right, yeah.
Right? If he had stayed alive, if he hadn't died in that moment, what could he possibly have done from that moment on to redeem himself?
Exactly.
I think nothing. Right? Because the damage is done, and Yasu's life is permanently damaged by this. So to redeem himself, I don't know if he could have done that. But at least he craved this little bit of getting the chance to ask for, not to ask for, but like express his regret over it.
Let me put it let me put it like this and see if you agree. You can't do something so bad that you remove yourself from being human.
Right.
So in the end, no matter what, you are still
a
human being. Okay.
Yeah, I can see that. It
okay,
applies.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I want to focus less on Kinzo for this scene, and more on people like Genji to see what actually was done, because there's some things that I think are weird. So from the beginning, I think that saving the baby is good. That makes sense. Why
I mean,
you
of
do
course.
Yes.
Like, if you remember my initial listing, it was like, how could a baby have survived falling off those sharp cliffs, whatever? Apparently a miracle occurred, and Genji didn't give up, and there was Nanjo involved, and Kumasawa and stuff. So, okay, I can take that.
Yes.
It's okay.
Very soap opera, but in the end, I think you came around to not minding it too much.
It's just, when I come up with stuff like that, it just doesn't feel right in my head. But if then this is what the author meant to do all along, I can sit down and be like, okay, it's fine. We can work with it.
Okay. So they save the baby, and they decide to hide the baby. I think that's understandable. Given the past, I can see that. That's okay. They put the baby in the orphanage, which makes sense, I suppose. Why not?
Right, because where else, right?
Yeah. Then having not the baby now, but having that child work in the mansion from so early on, I don't really fully see the rationale, but it's okay, I guess. And the reason why they are working in the mansion anyway is because that's kind of the pipeline for when you are in the orphanage. Although this already shows that, let's say, Genji had this idea of maybe one day reuniting the child with Kinzo. And I can see that.
He wanted to keep the child around, I guess.
Yes. He wanted to keep this a possibility. I can see that still.
Sure.
I can see that. Then, at some point, Genji decides that it is time. Okay. It is time. Problem my personal, okay, me. My issue with this is when the child does go through the epitaph, Genji shows up and is like, "Hey, good job. I'm gonna need you to wear this dress so that you can be apologized to for something that you don't know about yet, that wasn't done to you, was done to your mother, that you don't really know that that's what happened, really, still, or anything. You don't know really anything. But yeah, get put that dress on. We're gonna go. You're gonna get a bunch of weird revelations. Kinzo dies in the middle of that. I guess he didn't plan for that, but yeah. And then only after Kinzo gets his thing, then they explain. I think that's quite weird.
I think that's just exact telenovela plot. So as an extension of the child surviving, this is, I know, I swear, I grew up watching a lot of telenovelas, okay? I understand Spanish because of that. And there's always this like big revelation moment, like, this is your real mother.
Yes.
And these moments are just like that. Right? So in a way, in keeping with the trend, in the moment I didn't question it too much, but at the same time I do agree with you and with everyone who is mentioning, including Iris Moth, that from Yasu's perspective this was like, what the fuck is happening? What? Right? I was strictly referring to Kinzo and about his like ability to be forgiven or to be redeemed, and if he like dying or not, I don't know if it would have made a difference, right? So that this, but this is strictly in isolation about Kinzo. Of course, the whole situation is quite ridiculous for Yasu because what the fuck, right? And I can totally understand how you come out of that with just what did just happened, right? And even if you are told afterwards, how the hell do you internalize that? How do you process it? How do you cope with it? It's quite the thing. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think the part that the things that I said about Kinzo in any way cancel out this part. Like I think they
don't. But it's like it's being said in chat is in Genji in giving Kinzo this. He Genji
prioritized Kinzo over Yasu in a way.
Yeah, because we can imagine if he had explained everything beforehand, maybe Yasu wouldn't want to do this.
I see what you mean.
Maybe yes, maybe no, but they weren't given that choice. That's what was taken.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a drama-filled, heightened kind of situation. That when you decompose it to these parts and try to look at them separately, it's the more you look, the more ridiculous it is, basically.
Yeah. I wanted to
I just
say
took
that.
it for what it is because like, what do I do? This is the story that the author wrote, right?
Yeah, of course. And yeah, this plays into the theme that it was never her choice to do anything.
Yeah.
Everything was already predetermined.
Yeah.
her place in the orphanage was made with this potential idea in the future of doing this whole thing. So yeah, this idea of nothing was actually their choice. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Genji has always been loyal to Kinzo and thus allowed many bad things to happen. I don't know, I'm ambivalent about that statement. I think each character did what they did based on their better judgment, and their better judgment is their better judgment. It doesn't have to be ours. We don't have to align with it.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, I suppose that hiding the child from Kinzo was an out of character moment.
Yeah, because it went
That's
against
how
that
I
loyalty.
would put it.
That supreme loyalty. Because even in his loyalty, he understood just how terrible a thing it was, and he felt the need to protect the child there. Yeah.
Maybe out of guilt. This is a relationship that I wish was more explored. The relationship between Genji and the Beatrice from Kuwadorian. It seems interesting. They refer to it a couple of times, but I wish I got more of that because it seems interesting. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask you about time. Like always, I am totally gigafine.
You can still go ahead. It's fine.
Okay. What else? I mean, there's many other things, but if chat wants something specific to be talked about, I think that would be good. Jessica's horror story. And the ramifications of that.
Oh my god.
Haven't been explicitly talked about yet by Arismut,
Yeah, I tried not to think too much about it because then my head goes for a loop. But I'm not really sure. The question is to articulate the like familial connections between them, or like I'm not sure.
I suppose so. For instance, yeah, you could talk about Yasu's familial relations. That seems interesting. Interesting.
I feel like I have to do some mental gymnastics because they're like two things at the same time. I don't know.
Let's just focus on Yasu's father being Kinzo.
Yes. Yeah. So then their relationship to the other children is that of siblings. Or
To Kinzo's other children, yeah.
Yes, to Kinzo's other children. And that makes Yasu aunt/uncle for the next generation.
Yes, exactly.
But at the same time, at the same time, they're cousins too, right?
Yeah.
Because they're also the child of another of Kinzo's children. Okay, see, is there a significance behind this? Because my brain is twisting and I don't know if it's useful.
There is, if we consider the relationship between Yasu and the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be along those lines. If someone was looking for a little bit more of pain, they could go that route and they would find it. What about they're asking if you think that the episode 7 Tea Party was all truth and what that even means, because there's a big chunk of Umineko that we haven't addressed that I keep hinting at, but yeah, this is a question. Do you think that it was all truth?
I don't think it's gonna be as clear cut as that. If this is the Umineko I've been reading thus far, I don't know. Because it kind of like contrasts and conflicts with a few things. One, that we did get clear cut answers or like backstory to some things in this episode. It was just like given as like, okay, there it is, this is it, okay. So it would feel like it's following that pattern. But at the same time, Byrne never really finished her sentence that she tried to say in red. So
that is true.
I don't know about that. Second of all, like I said in the beginning, I can see this as a potential explanation for the fact that in any sort of fragment, regardless who decides to do what, it ends up in the same way where people are being murdered, and the potential to be the murderer exists in the others as well. And like a lot of people have outlined during the stream, and I think there was also a YouTube comment that I haven't managed to get back to. Like the scariest part about Umineko always has been this looming thought that like it's not magic, it's actual humans committing such acts. Right? So the potential exists. But at the same time, there are some things in there that I can't wrap my head around.
Okay. I'd love to hear about those.
I mean, it's specifically some things about Kirie and her behavior and the things she says, particularly about the way she talks about Enje. I don't fully believe it. But this can be two things. It can be either my heart holding on to the parts of Kirie that I have liked thus far and like wanting to see something redeemable in her. There's also this instinct of like, she's like, this whole behavior, she seems incredibly petty in some ways that, again, I don't know if that aligns with the Kirie that always has like a card up her sleeve and like who's always turning around the chessboard, that there's like, it feels like there's something else there. But it could also be that like all of these things I've just imagined and projected onto this character because she had some cool moments and I wanted to like her, but actually maybe in reality this is all that these characters are. When stripped to their essentials, they are this, and everything else maybe has been an embellishing of my mind. This was a thought that I was having during the thing. But then the aftermath of that happened, and I don't feel so inclined to quickly jump to that conclusion. I can like keep it as a thought, but the ending of this today infused me with so much hope, both from Will and from Battler, that I don't want to give up on these characters just yet. So I'm making a choice to believe that there was something more there, that Byrne kept away intentionally and showed only the parts that she knew would hurt the most.
I see. But
that also is quite in line with Byrne, generally speaking.
100%.
Right? So I feel like that could fit. Yeah.
But in your estimation, even if it's somehow altered or presented in a biased way, would you say that the general idea that was presented, if it was true? And I also want to ask what that means. It's being true.
What it means that those events are the truth, like Byrne was trying to state. I don't know if I should see something deeper there. I just took it to be, this is the truth of one of the millions of fragments that are like, it's a potential let's say if there are multiple lines of fate, this is one of them, a potential
Okay.
one.
So you are interpreting it as being this can happen. NJ, your parents can do this.
Mm-hmm. It could be. It could be the truth of the fragment that NJ is from.
I see. Okay.
Because, we were having this talk at the end of episode 4, I think it was. It was after NJ's story, so it was 4. About, is the world that NJ comes from the one after the potential storyline in episode 3? And it was like, okay, maybe it makes you think that because it comes right on the back of that and Eva is alive. But it could not be that. It could be something else. This could be a potential background for that. For the world that NJ is coming from. And to NJ, that would be the truth, because that would be the events of her past, basically.
It at least aligns with the result that we know this NJ comes from, which is that Eva is alive and said nothing. It kind of reframes why Eva would say nothing, which I find very interesting. But yeah.
And explains things like, how could Eva kill her own family? So she did it.
Exactly. But I definitely understand why you think this Kyria was too cartoonishly evil.
That's one good way to put it. I wouldn't have thought to say that, but yeah.
Although I will say that it does seem that she is quite resentful. We have seen it before, at least once.
Yeah.
So is there room for this level of that? Maybe this will be revisited later. There's many things to say about that, but that's for another time. Okay.
Yeah.
More questions from chat.
Bea said something about Kanon.
Yep.
I mean, in the beginning, since I was thinking this whole, like, Shannon maybe is based on a real person, I was like, maybe there's, like, just another similar thing. But when the scene actually happened, that he was introduced, I could only envision that it was just another concoction of the mind. That
I see.
There was never an actual real person Kanon at all. Like, for him, I was kind of convinced that was the case. Even though for Shannon, I was still like debating, like maybe this is where it started, right? So initially it was something based on a seed of truth, but then after that, after accumulating all of these one yet many things, Kanon was just it was never based on anything real.
Right. Yes, that is something that I could agree with. I'm curious about the logistics of that in the stories that we know.
Yeah, that was also the thought I was grappling with. Like, how would that work? And to be fair, I did not go to revisit new things, but in this episode, I paid attention to how they were addressed.
Yeah.
Both Shannon and Kanon. And in particular, I don't know if anyone caught this, but there was the moment when it was about the epitaph, and Genji was talking, and technically there was Shannon and Kanon there. Yes. But he was only talking directly to Shannon in a sense, and even the translation was, I guess, like, he was ambiguous in Japanese. He just said like "omae mo," you should also.
You did say that,
right? Genji said that, but the translation said you should try it too, Shannon, or something. It said Shannon specifically, and I was like, okay, well, he didn't really say that, okay, but yeah, he was kind of ambiguous about how he was addressing them. And he never really referred to Kanon specifically. He never really referred to Kanon as a this separate entity. So it could coexist. And then the thought that I had was that he was aware of it, but he was entertaining it.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And this makes a lot of sense. Well, it does, but then it doesn't because it creates a huge amount of issues.
I
Because
don't
there are
know.
things like, why is there actually one such character in the stories? He is there, we have seen, he has done things and said things. How does that work?
uh, I mean, we do have that one scene where, and I don't know if I'm answering your question. Maybe I misunderstood it. But we do have that one scene where technically Yasu is having Gap, which at the time I guess was still Beatrice,
Yeah.
do the thing with the keys. And it's kind of like a projection outside of Yasu,
Yeah.
like someone is doing it, but I think all along
I
it was
see.
Yasu doing it. So
Right.
it's when it's filtered through Yasu's perspective, it's presented as if it's a separate entity. But
Yes,
it actually isn't.
this makes sense. Then let me ask you, for example, about Jessica. How does she fit in this?
Yeah. So I did question that as well. Like there has like if this is the case, there maybe should be some sort of physical manifestation of Kanon. But like I said, I didn't dig too deep into it to see if it's explainable, if like the scenes where there are like the cousins around, is there ever a scene where there's both Shannon and Kanon present and they're both addressed by the others and stuff? I didn't go back to check stuff like that. So my memory is very vague on it, and of course when I first experienced those scenes, I didn't look at them through this kind of lens, and so I didn't necessarily pick it up. And this is what I mean when I say that I would probably see it completely differently and look for completely different things now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You see the value of why we do this, why
Yeah,
we
I
do
see.
what we do of playthrough after playthrough. Yeah. There is a very interesting part of Umineko. It's in episode 2, where Kanon, specifically Kanon, he exists outside of the island and even has a different outfit and goes with Jessica to her concert, right?
Yeah.
It's a very deliberate scene, and it says something. And Iris must said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But I won because I said it first because I'm privileged right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't go so far as to fully explore everything and like think of explanations for them. I'm just basically doing that in real time.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that's fine.
My answers are half-assed. Sorry.
Yeah, it is interesting how somehow reaching this conclusion that makes a lot of sense, even retroactively, it makes a lot of sense for many different things. For example, the brush in episode 2 that is split in two and each one of them gets a piece and things like that.
Yeah.
And the fact that each of them is incomplete and such things. It somehow creates so many logistical issues that it actually makes everything harder to understand. But it's the right track. I invite you to ask about any of these things if you want more. There are things that I will have to preface with this is how I see it, because there's still things that at the end of the day are not objective regarding this and how everything works exactly. But yeah, if you want for anything that we've talked about, not just this, but anything that you would be curious about or anything like that? Yes, you have this. You can do it. You can do it now if you want.
I guess this also plays into the thing that I said in the beginning, that there are some things that I don't need to fully explain to myself.
Yeah.
Like, this could be one of them. Like, I don't know if Kanon was always just a figment of imagination or was based on someone real or something. But I think what is relevant is that in the span of days that we are referring to, where things happen, and in this particular moment, I think there wasn't an actual physical separate Kanon in the mansion.
Right.
So
Yeah.
somehow I can live without fully explaining the whole trajectory and the whole logistical thing for other things outside of it.
Yeah. That's totally fine. Okay. Last line of questions from me. Sort of after episode 7, how do you feel regarding the hints and the clues that were given up to this point? Do you now retroactively find them? Did you see, oh, that was probably referring to this, I can see that now? Is there anything like that you can see? I can see how people were supposed to kind of understand this and get to these conclusions. Do you see any of that?
It's not that I don't, I don't necessarily have a particular one off the top of my head right now.
Mm-hmm.
For some of the things that were a bit, how do I put it, that were shown in a not so interpretable manner, I can see, of course, the clues that were peppered up to the point that we were explaining, like, for example, Beatrice's origin and stuff like that, in terms of like the original one, right?
Oh yeah.
Because you do know that I mean, you remember that I struggled with putting together the timeline.
Yes.
And yeah, now I can see how the pieces fit, and I can see where I made wrong assumptions and kind of ended up in a skewed version of it. I can also see what someone was asking me in chat at some point, like, given Kinzo's age, what events has he encountered in his lifetime? And I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? World War II? Okay, sure,
that's what they meant.
It didn't mean anything to me at the time, right? Okay, just like
Right.
thinking that he went through World War II is not necessarily something that immediately paints a backstory in my mind. Yes, right?
Right.
But now that I see, okay, I understand. Okay, I see where this is coming from. I see how it connects, and I see how this whole I see how the rule actually was applied and supported, that like everything has been, like the clues for everything have been laid out in advance, right?
Right.
So I can see how that was done, even though I wasn't able to pick up on them at the time, right, as I was reading, because everything was just so new and there was just so much, and yeah, some things you read and then you don't think about them that deeply. You kind of, some things you just take for granted.
Yeah, I think people do stretch it a bit too much. You know, they will say things like, "Oh, you can solve everything from line number 3 in the whole thing." Yeah, I don't think so. And I think that tying Kinzo to World War II, and from that figuring, oh, so Beatrice must be Italian, even though the name does sound Italian, so I guess you could.
Yeah, the moment it was like, Beatrice
guess that.
Castiglione. Okay, yeah, sure, that makes sense.
Yeah. And you could
yeah.
think, oh yes, Japan and Italy were on the same side in World War II, I suppose. I don't think really. First of all, I don't think that's an important conclusion to reach in the first place, but I don't really think that sort of thing is really to be expected, really. But if anyone manages to do that, that's awesome. But if
yeah,
they don't,
and
that's
the thing
totally fine.
about the gold to the whole 6
the
episodes thus
eagle.
far, there was just like so much. I think this is also something that I needed to correct in myself this episode, and I hope I managed to, at least to the extent that I'm happy with. There were so many things that were repeated and had these fantasy elements projected onto them. Like, Batiche was a witch that gave Kinzo a mountain of gold, right? When you just take it like as that statement, you're like, what the... And it just gets repeated and honkered on, like, what the heck even is this? Like, at this point, they said it so many times that I don't even know what to make of it. It's kind of like when you say a word so much that it's suddenly like semantic satiations, is something like that. Like, you say it so much and it loses meaning, and it's like, you're like, I had this kind of feeling in the beginning of the episode as well, but I kind of like, I guess I hope I tried to cure myself of it a little bit, and just accept things for what they are. And now that the story has been outlined, it makes sense, right? But I personally wouldn't have been able to come up with, like, this is likely what happened, and this is how the gold was real. It was brought in a submarine, and it's been lying in the island this whole time because it's a freaking mountain of illegal gold, and you can't do anything with it other than, I guess, murder people over it, which is actually something like the moment the backstory from World War II was going into the direction of the gold, and it's like they murder each other over it. They all murder each other. I was like instantly in my mind, oh yeah, this is what's gonna happen. And it's kind of like so reminiscent of, like, it's an echo of what eventually happens in the main story, in the main mystery. And And from that point of view, now it aligns and everything fits neatly together. But I wouldn't have been able to put that together.
No, for Kinzo's backstory stuff, I think it's quite difficult. You can make some assumptions, like we know that he bought the island. We don't know exactly why. I guess you could infer he did it because he had to. Why did he have to? Because there was something in it that couldn't be moved out of it, and you could say, oh, maybe that's the gold. Maybe you could do that. I think that's, but much more than that, I think. And
also obviously this explains why would a person accept to be basically imprisoned in this island and, you know, live in a separate mansion and just because when you put it that way, she was his mistress, and so she just came to the island to be next to him and, like, be completely sealed off from the world and basically a bird in a cage. And, like, who would choose that? Well, given her circumstances, that she actually couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Legally, and she would get in a lot of trouble. Now this makes sense. Right.
Yeah. This is a good tip in general for these kinds of stories. When you're wondering why would someone do something, you should think maybe they had to. Why? What would be the circumstances that would make it so that they had to? That's a good tip because that's common. Yep. Anyway.
So the question was, like, these kinds of things, I guess, kind of align in my head. But this is more in the general sense, and particularly directed to the ones that I feel like are kind of established now. I don't know so much about the ones that still kind of have, like, an interpretable nuance to them or still have question marks on them.
Yeah. But yeah, regarding a lot of other stuff, you will see, if you ever reread, you will see that every episode is riddled with, it's screaming at you. Canon, this and that about Shannon, this and that about this, and that about that, all the time, constantly. It's deafening. And you will appreciate it, I think. That's pretty much what I had for now. I want to ask you, what did you think about the tea party though? That how did you like it? Of course, it's like it is not maybe the appropriate term, but
I loved the end of it.
It's something. Okay.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
This is true that grade 35 says. There are 16 pieces in a chessboard, and there's only 16 actual, like, bodies moving around, as we learned from the Red Truth in episode 6. That's a sneaky one, but it is true.
It's cool. It's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. But again, it's colored by hindsight.
Oh yeah.
Because
It's one of those.
is
Some
when
are meant to build to something,
yeah.
others are in
When you
retrospective.
take it backwards, you can be like, oh yeah, this is a cool one. But then how do you do it forwards? Like, oh, there are 16 pieces on one side on the chessboard. Maybe there aren't actually 18 people on the side, and there are 16. Like, how do you land on that in the early stages? It wouldn't be that thing. It just works retroactively as a kind of like a light bulb thing. Like, oh yeah, this is a suggestion of it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I should go because otherwise I will stay here for 5 hours saying how much I like this story. But I want to say I really like the Tea Party. You're right when you say this is pure humanity right now that we're seeing. I really liked how the idea of if you just get the gold, everything will be fine, gets brought on to the reality of you can't just spend unmarked gold. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I like when he does this in many of his stories, like bring it down to actual details of reality. It's like, okay, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, understood.
Yeah, I guess this also, but like again, it's a bit colored by hindsight because I don't know if I would have been able to infer it in the beginning. But it's this whole idea that they're coming from all of these like financial struggles, and they're imagining, oh, if only the gold was real and we had it, we could fix it. No, no,
Yeah, no.
no. And that makes it even more disparaging because they're going to these lengths of, I don't know if I can like put my hand on like murdering the others, but at the very least undermining their own family and just being like overall nasty and all of that for something that actually doesn't even help them at all.
Yep.
And doesn't make things better, it only makes them worse. And my heart sinks just thinking about that.
But it was pretty hype and that cool music, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Final thing, when it is posted in the Discord, because someone surely will, the red background little segments thing.
Right.
You should look at them, especially the first one about Kinzo, just so you understand what is going on.
Okay.
And yeah, that's it for me.
All right. Thank you so much for this. It's
Yeah,
always been very pleasant. And as always, I have no idea if I said anything good. I
think so.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you for this.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Take care. Okay. Sorry if a few things in chat were missed. I said a lot of good things. Yeah. As always, I don't feel like I have a firm footing when it comes to this. I'm always like constantly trying to find my balance, I guess, and in that process, I don't know if my trains of thought lead somewhere or not. It's just constantly trying not to, flip over. Yeah, I don't know if I missed anything in chat because it was kind of a little bit difficult to follow both, so I kind of spaced out on the chat for a little bit. I think we did address a few of the questions. Something about Jessica's horror story. Oh, thank you so much for the BTs. That's very sweet. I am blanking out on what that question means, right? What else was there? I think we addressed most of it. A culprit that surprised me so far, by Barry Mask. Yeah, for you was definitely Kitty in episode 7. I don't know. I don't know if surprise is even the right. it's conflicting because I did start on this journey with the thought that, like, no, there isn't magic. Some of the people are actually doing it, right? So it means that someone has to do it. But then when it's actually revealed or like actually shown that some people are doing certain things, sometimes my heart kind of sinks because, you know, there were things that I liked about them. But I don't know if I was necessarily surprised because I always had this thought in my head that, like, it can be any one of them, even the ones, and specifically the ones that I like most. So, yeah. Yeah. Ah, with the doll. Ah, okay. I'm not sure what that doll even is. I haven't thought about it that much. I'm not. I don't know if I have any coherent thoughts about that. My apologies about that. Oh, any thoughts on Shannon's and George's relationship? Yeah, this is something that I missed. I guess this is also an instance where I had a bit of a misconception from the beginning that I kind of propagated because it felt to me like this is something that had been like brewing between them for much longer than it seems to actually have been the case. So yeah, I guess I assumed something wrongly there, and then maybe I projected a little bit of idealism onto it. But at the same time, I don't necessarily have negative thoughts about it now. I just kind of see where it's coming from more concretely, and like what Shannon's background was on that. Shannon and George's relationship is wholesome and devoid of issues. I still feel the wholesomeness on George's side, though, because I feel like that is, at least coming from him, is just absolutely real and raw and powerful and gentlemanly, and I have a lot of respect for him. So that's where I'm coming from more in that direction. And about Shannon, there's nothing particularly wrong about allowing someone else in when the person that you wish was there actually isn't, right? Sometimes things don't happen and we need to let go. But yeah, I do feel like there's a bit of a duplicitous quality there, just a little bit. I guess I perceived their relationship as this like epitome of romance, and at the end, it's just a very human romance. So it's a little bit sobering and an indication to myself to not project things from my own mind onto characters that don't necessarily have to embody those ideals. But yeah, I don't feel necessarily anything negative about it. I just feel sad about the whole circumstance and the pain that's kind of like in the background on the side of it. From Shannon's side, I mean. Yeah. But I'm blanking out on like what to even think about that doll. I don't know. Sorry about that. Yep. Okay. So I think this is good enough for today. We've gone up to 3 hours, which is always nice when we have these conversations. And I have no problem taking the time with them. The doll is the key to everything, along with the knock and letter. Yeah, right. Right, so for now I'm gonna go rest. Thank you so much for being here. it's an extreme honor to share this novel with you. So I look forward to the 8th and I guess final episode of this, which remember Will's hand. Okay. Thanks for reading about that. Oh god, yeah, those descriptions are just that's one thing I'm looking forward to move away from after this is Will's hand, that's how the knock was made. yeah, I see that now. We gotta laugh about these things, otherwise we gotta cope in some way, and laughter is the best way. Yeah, episode 8 is happy. I very, very much liked the note of hopefulness at the end of this episode, both from Will and Battler. So I'm gonna hold on to that as tightly as I can and hope it serves me for the ride into the next episode. Yeah, I will see you with that on Thursday as per the usual schedule. For now, night, take care, love you all, you're awesome. Looking forward to see you again.